Hiya guys, welcome to Smooth's Workshop. It's Terry here. Time for another inbox review. Haven't done one for a little while. This is the next one up in my stash. It is a Tamiya Bimota Tesi 1D906SR. Now this kit has got a copyright on it of 1992, so it is a vintage kit. It was a new tool release in 1993, so that makes it a get your teeth in, Terry, 24-year-old kit. Now, part number of this kit, the Tamiya part number is 14062, and it's out of production. Now, I know Tamiya have been bringing out a couple of older kits as re-releases. The Kenny Roberts 01 in the range, they've brought that out. And they've brought out the RZ250 and RZ350 as well. It would be nice to see some of these older kits coming back out, Tamiya, if you're listening. This kit does have the original Tamiya decals, and I'll go into that a bit later. They're not very nice. But anyway, you can still get a hold of these. Rumoured that HobbyLink Japan has them in stock. But if you go onto eBay, I'm from the UK, I'm seeing them in Poland and stuff like that. But you're looking at £35 to £40 for what is to me a mid-range kit. It's a wee bit pricey. Very interesting bike, this one, Bimota. It's based around the Ducati engine. And it has a very unusual suspension system on it. You'll notice that most bikes normally have front forks and a rear swing arm. Well, this has a steerable front swing arm and a special suspension setup on it. It's a bit cumbersome, but you know what they're like for experimenting back in those days. Obviously, the idea of a bike is you want as little unsprung weight as possible. So the more stuff you've got below the spring, okay, as unsprung weight, you want this wheel to follow all the bumps as quick as you can. You start adding swing arms and levers and steering arms and all that sort of thing, it's not going to make it as responsive as a modern telescopic fork bike, but it's a really, really interesting design. There is one of my YouTube followers or subscribers is actually in the middle of, I think he's actually just completed a build on this. I'll flash up his YouTube name, probably across in one of these corners. It's SPIDIQ8, an unusual name, but he has done a build series on this and explained all the decals and everything. So I've zoomed out. I'm shooting this on my phone. I'm finding it's better than my movie cam. So this is the front box art, and it's in a lovely red and white livery. Fully faired bike. On the side, it has some close-ups of the fancy front steering and suspension setup, all painted up, and a lot of stuff in Japanese. The end box art tells you item number 14062, number 62 in the range, and shows a sort of cutaway through the fairing. It isn't a clear fairing on this, so it's just a cutaway showing all the detail behind it. And the other side again, just kind of showing you the parts on it. So I'm going to stop going into detail so much on the instructions on these. I'm just going to show you what's in the box. So I'm going to lift the lid off, and I'm going to see if I can hide it behind here. I'm doing a different camera angle, so we shall see how that goes. It's out the way, so there's no really any point having that on the table, really. It's been a while since I've done a out the box, so the lid's off. And we have a box of sprues. So what I will do is I'll put the box down to the side, and I'll pull some of the sprues up to let you have a look. And I'll try, I've got a new gimbal for my camera, but I'm still waiting on an adapter for it. So I'm trying lots of new things out to try and make these videos a bit better for you. I have been told by some that my intro and outro music is a bit loud. If this is the case, please do comment on the video, and I'll try. I'm still learning with the editing software. I'll try and edit the sound levels. I posted it. So let's see if I can do what I hope this thing will let me do. This is all me trying stuff, is getting closer. So you guys can see these sprues now. It will white out a bit. This first sprue I'm looking at is sprue number C. And just seeing if there's a date in it. It says 1/12 Bimota Tesi ID. There is no date on it that I can see anywhere, but there was only ever one tooling of it. It's typical Tamiya white plastic. It's a soft plastic. Now let me just try something. I didn't know I could do this with my phone. Hey, hopefully I'm back again. Right, I'm just experimenting with my phone. It appears that I can zoom in and out, but not once I've actually started recording. Okay, so I'm still recording. Let's see if I can. No. So I'm just going to try something here, and it's going to cut back in again. Right, back again. Right, what I was just testing there is I do actually have a zoom feature on my phone, but you can't physically zoom it whilst the record button has been played. So anyway, this first sprue, sprue C, white plastic, typical soft Tamiya plastic, has your wheels. That looks like rear number plate cowling. Front mudguard comes in 2 halves on this one, so when you glue it together you are going to get a visible seam line. 2 front fairing pieces. Front mudguard is in 1-piece construction, which is really good, and the frame is in 2 halves. Various other body panel pieces. This looks like tail light again, number plate, other frame pieces. There's not an awful lot of detail on these. I'm just checking to see. There's not much in the way of flash, but there are 1 or 2 ejection pin marks here and there, typically on the rear of the part. A couple of these seam lines to take care of here and there, but it's really quite crisp. So that's the first sprue. Pretty much the same as every other Tamiya kit, but it's in that soft white plastic. You've got to be careful what you're doing with it. So I'll just put that to the side. And everything has collapsed off to the side of me. Okay. Right, again, staples in the bags. A lot of people don't like this. Now I'm hoping this camera angle is going to be better than the other ones that I've done, because I tend to do a side-on view. And I'm experimenting with camera angles and everything. So next sprue we're going into is a black sprue, sprue A, and it doesn't have anything. Oh yes, oh it says it's 1/12 Bimota Tesi. This sprue is mostly the 2 halves of the engine, the cylinder heads, oil filter. That looks like a side casing, the injector block. If you look at it and you've actually built a Decals kit in the past, you might recognise some of these parts. But this one is definitely marked as the Bimota Tesi and not Decals parts. So yeah, you've got your curved radiator, your camshaft timing belt covers, alternator cover, water pump, cooling fan, oil cooler, battery. It's all really nice crisp detail. No flash. Oh, tell a lie. Now remember, this is a 24-year-old kit. There is a bit of flash behind that. I don't know if you can see it on the cam cover here. A little bit of flash around the edges there. 1 or 2 wee seam lines you might need to address, but typical Tamiya quality, even for a 24-year-old kit. Fantastic injection moulding, and it actually says 1992 Tamiya just down at the left corner there. So that's the next sprue. There's another 3rd big sprue. Again, horrible staples in it. The only thing to watch with the staples is if you scratch any parts when you're taking them out. Now this bag has a grey metallic silver sprue in it and the clear parts. Now I do hate how Tamiya do that. It's not their norm. Normally the clear parts are in a separate bag. I will be putting it into its own separate bag, but we'll concentrate on the clear one first. The screen does have some signs of damage on it, but it's got really good optical clarity on it. I may be able to buff that back, hoping I don't have to dip it into clear. It's sprue number E, and it's Bimota Tesi again, so it's specific to this kit. And you have a rear tail light unit, front headlight, and the indicators and the screen. As I say, because this has been bagged in with the main sprues, it has a little bit of surface scratching on the screen. It's been rattling about for 24 years. Again, they've actually printed on the front here, 1992 Tamiya. So that's when the copyright was brought out. So a little clear sprue, and then a main big greyish silver sprue. And on this sprue we have the chain and sprocket set, which has very nice detail on it, all the little chain links in it. This is the front suspension arms with the calipers built on. The exhaust parts here, rear silencer, link pipes and everything. Brake levers down here, clutch lever. Not quite 100% sure what that is, but it looks like something to do with suspension. Then you've got collars for the suspension springs, the actual struts. These two things here are the link rods that turn the specialised front steering, and another link rod for it. Fuel cap. This looks again to be a really fine part, again for the front steering setup. Then we're going on to what I would assume is one set of these will be the front swing arms, another one will be the rear swing arms. More rear silencer parts. Don't recognise most of this because this is all to do with the rather specialised front suspension and steering setup. So these aren't standard bike parts. So I'm assuming these are rams of some sort. Actually, no, this looks like front and rear suspension units. And because it's one damper on the front and one on the back, that's what they are. So I've figured those out. This looks like another frame section. So it looks like the frame sections go together in more than one piece. We have the top steering yoke with the handlebar grips on. This looks like another cooling pipe, side stand. These are the drop links for the front steering. That looks like one as well. Rather large discs, which do have indentations where the drilled holes would be, so you could drill them out easy enough, along with the washers that hold the main disc to the centre hub, because these are floating discs, or floating rotors for American friends. That allows for expansion and contraction of the two different types of metal. So there's just like big round rivets. There's normally a hole through those, and a rear brake disc. So as far as parts goes, it's pretty well standard. There are ejector pin marks. Just looking at this disc here. No, that's just a wee wavy bit in the pattern. There are ejector pin marks on the rear of the parts, but not really on any of the facing parts. You will have some seam lines and stuff to dress up, especially when putting the exhaust parts together. But yeah, pretty standard for Tamiya. Right, main part of the bike comes in another separate bag with yet another staple. This is the bit that we didn't want the staple to scratch. So yeah, I do wish Tamiya would stop putting staples in and heat seal them like everybody else, but it's always a bugbear with these kits because you end up stabbing your fingers and everything with them. Right, so we have here the front fairing. There does, now I would need to check in the artwork, I'm not sure if that's seam lines down there for the moulding or if it's actual lines that's supposed to be there. There is a bracing piece you will have to take out. It's obviously to help them when they're moulding it. Mirrors will go in there, indicators in there. There's not a lot of detail on it, but it's nicely moulded. Any ejector pin marks are on the rear. So that's your front headlight fairing. The good thing about this is the main tank and seat and rear cowling and side panels are all one piece. So you're not going to have to address a seam line going all the way down the middle. There might be a little bit of tidy up on it here and there. Yeah, there's a tiny little bit of flash along that part there. But considering it's a 24-year-old kit, it's lovely made. I think there's a small sink mark there. Again, all the ejector pin marks are on the inside. And yeah, a little bit of a smooth up and a buff up. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. So yeah, so that's the main part of the body. Right, now, this kit has something a little bit different in it, and is the only reason I'm going into usual bag of bits and bobs. If you've built Tamiya motorbikes before, you'll always get a bag of bits and bobs with screws, rubber tyres, your rubber hoses for your brake pipes and everything, and the obligatory, I'm just trying to get this staple out, the obligatory Tamiya screwdriver. So, right, let us just see, there's a screwdriver, front and rear tyres. Now these again are superbly moulded, and they have writing on them. They even tell you the make, the tyre size, 120/70 ZR17, and they're Michelin's. And there is a little bit of flash just down the middle, which you'll need to dress off. That's the front tyre. The back tyre, again, flashed out, a bit of flash down the middle that you'll need to dress off. Road going tyres, again with all the lovely moulding of all the details that you get on the side of the tyres. Again, Michelin, realistic rubber tyres. You also get, this looks like a little metal link rod, and the obligatory screws, other stuff for the suspension, and two types of the vinyl tubing for the hose. This is a bit that interests me, and it looks as though mine has been damaged by the tyres, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to use this. They give you a sticky seat pad. Okay, there is a template, I believe, in the instructions for cutting out this seat pad, but the template asks you to cut it too small. This gets cut to size and laid into the back seat. Now, unfortunately, it looks, unless I can get these marks out, which I will have a go at, it's slightly felty, slightly fuzzy feeling. Obviously, this has been lying in the kit for however many years, and you have to cut it to fit in here. And it's to simulate the foam type seats that the racers use. Unfortunately, mine has been badly marked. That's a bit annoying. At worst, I can always just paint it in matte black, but it's not going to give the, it's not very thick, it's just millimetres thick, if that, half a mil thick. But yeah, in the instructions it gives you a template to cut that. You need to cut it oversize, or when you bend it over, the edges peel up, and I've had that for a reliable source. So that's why I wanted to open that up. Yeah, so that's a bit disappointing that that's been laid on by the tyres and marked it. There are a few things I can try and get that back, but if it's actually rubbed the felt off, I'm going to be in soapy bubbles with that one, and I'm going to have a marked seat. I don't know if I can spray it over with a matte black or something like that to try and get it back, but we shall see how we go when we get to that. That's just an unboxing. Right, the only other thing in the box is blah 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 nonsense, all written in foreign languages, don't need that. As instructions, I'll put them aside for 1 second. And the decals. Now, my decals are I think, quite badly yellowed. Not 100% sure. Are they supposed to be yellow or not? Possibly Spidey Q8 can tell me that, but on its Tamiya decals, have I got a date on these? No, there's nothing on it. They're a horrible thick decals. They're a bit of a pain to go around the tank. But yeah, certainly the Bimota insert on the red panels is all yellowed, and the number plates is all yellowed, and that's yellowed, but these white ones seem to be okay. So I've got a lot of yellowing on my decals here. So I don't know if when I get round to it I might actually scan these in and see if I can get some made up. So yeah, I bought this off eBay. I didn't pay a lot of money for it. I think it was about £20. But my decals are badly yellowed. I might try them under the UV light to try and get them back. But that's the disadvantages of buying a vintage kit. So I'm going to need to get decals for this, I think. But anyway, there we go. Instructions wise, I'm not going to go into a great depth on them. I used to do it all before. It's the usual black and white. Just pull this back a bit. Usual black and white. Picture of the bike. Bit of bump about it. And it'll be pretty much standard Tamiya build order. This one, engine first, then the frame and suspension. Obviously it's going to be a bit different because of the suspension setup. But yeah, nothing untoward in that. I'm not going to spend ages running through it. But yeah, it tells you about the seat pad, and there is the schematic or the diagram for the shapes you want to cut out of that black piece that's all marked on mine. For the seat pad, I've been told don't use that as a guide because it will make your seat pad too small and it will peel up, and it shows you there where it's supposed to sit. So that is the word of warning about this kit. If you do have this kit, and hopefully your black seat pad is in better condition, it is just double-sided sticky thin foam, don't use that guide. Yeah, make your own template up because it's slightly undersized. That's what I've been led to believe. So yeah, that was just the main thing to point out in it. So yeah, it's a vintage kit. It's out of production. I managed to get a hold of one. Knowing my luck, by the time I get round to building it, it will be re-released with cartograph decals, because all the re-releases are coming with cartograph decals now. So yeah, I'm going to have problems with decals on mine. It is kind of showing on there that the Bimota on the red decals is supposed to be white, and if I look at the box art, yeah, that's supposed to be pure white and mine's are yellow. So I've got the bike and all the parts are correct. My seat pad is damaged and my decals are yellowed, but those are the trials and tribulations of buying an out of production kit second hand on the likes of eBay and stuff. So yeah, that's it's just a quick inbox review. A wee bit disappointed in what I've got, but trying to keep the time down on these a wee bit. So that's me, Terry from Smooth's Workshop. Happy modelling. Bye.